How y'all doing out there? How y'all doing? Y'all know what time it is. Your boy Easy Work Boxing about to hit you. Everywhere but under your feet with this one. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hey, we just do real deal boxing over here. Ain't no racism, no bias talk. I just give my opinion. You're welcome to come on the panel no matter who you are, LDBC, NEC. You can come on here and talk to me. You understand me? I just tell you how I feel about the sport of boxing and what's going on in it today. Okay? So I'm gonna wait to see. Some people gonna come on for a minute. You know, the topic of discussion is Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. I don't know why I go back into thinking about Spence, but I know some people gonna say, "Well, that's the only person he fought for real." Okay, that may be your opinion, but you know, I don't know why I keep thinking that. But this is Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. This is a major fight. This increases Terrence Crawford's legacy by 100%. Fighting a Canelo Alvarez that ain't been down, ain't been knocked out, coming off victories, bigger fighter. Terrence Crawford is supposed to lose this fight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not forget this. You know, if he comes up short, that's all good and well, which I don't believe at all he's going to come up short in. But if he should, he's not supposed to physically win this fight. You know, a good guy versus a smaller guy, the big guy always come out on top in boxing, but it may be a different situation when it comes to this fight. And I'm hoping that's a different situation to this fight. Not that I'm not a Canelo Alvarez fan. Canelo Alvarez has done his job, you know, moving up, you know, coming from 154. I have a lot to say about Canelo Alvarez, but I'm not going to go into it let somebody else go into it because they're going to say you being biased. So I just said I want Terrence Crawford to win. But no, it's a lot to go into Canelo Alvarez's career. And if people come on and we discuss it, then that's what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not just going to come out here. But he's an excellent champion. He's taken over the boxing, the face of boxing, in my opinion. Simply to the fact that you can't out when people when it comes to the face of boxing, people may pick Crawford, some people may pick Tank, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, you have to pick the guy that is making the more money, who's selling the most fights, and that would be Canelo Alvarez. You know, you have to give him his props, you have to give him his respect. So, as to me, the top guy in boxing, the face of boxing, is still this day Canelo Alvarez. Terrence Crawford's hopefully ability to beat him will put him at number one, which I think that Terrence Crawford should literally retire if he defeats Canelo Alvarez. But the fights that he's been wanting to see his whole life, the fights that he's been begging for, the fights that he's wanted to put him on top of where he's at now to even fight Canelo Alvarez, will eventually come after, you know, he defeats Canelo Alvarez. It'll be passing a torch for him again, as it was for Floyd Mayweather fighting Oscar De La Hoya. That will put Terrence Crawford in a whole different era of money. But I don't want him to continue on for the money. I want him to retire. But you know, at the end of the day, if he believes that he has the ability to be 41 years old, 39 years old, 40 years old, and fighting to his ability to where he can beat other fighters, then you know that's his choice. But I wouldn't like to see him do it. You know, I would like for him to beat Canelo Alvarez at time because he's accomplished so much. He's accomplished more than a lot of these fighters out here that we call great today has accomplished. You know, and but at the end of the day, this is what the comment section for. Y'all hit the like button. Y'all come on, we're gonna talk about Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. It's so much to say. You know, I've been hearing Terrence is smaller. Canelo is bigger, you know. Power this, power that. Bud isn't strong enough. It's been a lot of stuff spoken about when it comes to this fight. You know, and I respect both fighters. It's a 50-50 fight. There's no way possible. It should be a 60-40 fight. If you think about the fact and the size of Canelo Alvarez and his experience, then it should be a 60-40 fight. Even if you're going for Crawford or 70-30. But once again, I must repeat that Crawford is supposed to lose this fight. He's supposed to lose it. Canelo is a juggernaut at 168. And we have to be truthful, you know, in situations. Yes, okay. we can say really that both fighters didn't look the same in their last fight. Okay, that's one thing we're gonna have to do and acknowledge. Crawford versus Madrimov. Madrimov was a good fight. Madrimov 400 fight amateur. You know, amateur who fought that many fights almost pro. That's what a lot of people don't understand because they'll fight. And the thing about it is they'll fight in so many nationalities from different places that it's like they're a little bit more experienced than your actual boxer who becomes professional and moves up in the ranks. Because in the amateurs, you know, you going across seas, you fighting everybody. You know, you seeing a Japanese, you seeing all types of styles. So I think that people, even though Crawford should have, well, I can't say should have because he still came out on top if you really watch the fight. Madrimov was a difficult opponent, strong opponent. You couldn't really time him or do anything because he's jerking in his movement. That's what made it very difficult for Crawford and also the layoff. But, you know, Madrimov was a difficult fight for Crawford due to the fact of the layoff and not, in my opinion, being truthful, it wasn't somebody whose style he's fought really like that besides Sean Porter. And the difference was that, you know, I think Madrimov could switch from certain stances to southpaw. So, you know, Madrimov had a lot of difficulty behind him. But then this is the question we also got to ask too. Madrimov was strong. Madrimov was more athletic, threw more punches than Canelo Alvarez. So if we seen Crawford barely do that much and come by in the later rounds and beat Madrimov, then what will we have to say about Terence Crawford beating Canelo Alvarez? Because Canelo Alvarez don't have much movement. Anybody on here will be lying. I just recently looked at 3 of Canelo Alvarez's fights. Canelo hides his stamina loss good. He burns out fast, but he hides it good. This is why he paces himself, and this is why he also can always throw power shots. Not his power don't look the same after certain rounds, but Canelo literally paces himself to keep his power and to keep his ability, his agility. This is why he doesn't throw combinations like that. This is why Canelo Alvarez is not a counterpuncher. This is why he's not a counterpuncher. Canelo literally comes at you. When you step to Canelo Alvarez and you bring it to him, it bothers his mind. Canelo is used to most fighters running from him and respecting his power. When he see you running from him, he already know he's gonna win the fight. That's what most of his opponents have done. When they stand in front of Canelo, and I'm going to tell you, this is how he loses too. When they stand in front of Canelo and they move around and they run, he know they're scared of me. This is an easy fight. Just think about this mentally. They're scared of me. This is going to be an easy fight. I just got to throw and they're going to fight off the back foot and not going to do nothing. He know that. But when his Canelo Alvarez lost, Canelo Alvarez has lost when there have been fighters who stood in front of him. Floyd Mayweather, which we're going to bring this up as well because everybody keeps talking about this size. And true enough, it's not the same difference. But Floyd Mayweather was literally a 147-pounder fighting Canelo Alvarez at 154 and defeated him. This was a smaller fighter. So to everybody who's out there saying that Bud is smaller and can't beat him, can't outbox him, don't say that. Floyd Mayweather been small his whole career and still went out there and stood in front of him and beat him, counterpunched him. Speed, ability, boxing IQ, and no, Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather. Before we even go there, I want you to think, I'm thinking that Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather. I'm bringing up the fact that this was a smaller fighter that outboxed and beat Canelo Alvarez. Let's go to Bivol. What did Bivol do that beat Canelo Alvarez? You can't say, oh, it was just a size advantage because he beat Sergey Kovalev, which is a fight that I feel was rigged, that they bought Sergey Kovalev belt because he was going through that situation of where he hit that young lady and stuff like that. And Sergey Kovalev had a powerful jab. He just beat Anthony Yard, a bigger natural 175 pound, and then Canelo Alvarez come out of nowhere and beat Sergey Kovalev. When it looked like Sergey Kovalev moved by a fighter that's moving up when he won staggered by Andre Ward and many other fighters in his division. But when it comes to Canelo, Canelo just hit him with a right hand. He just fall and shake into the ropes. Come on, man. Come on, man. I ain't saying nothing bad about Canelo. We're going to bring it up. Let's go in on another factor. Let's bring this up so people won't, let's talk about Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford's career, is a career that a lot of people wouldn't want to mention because they weren't here to see the experience of his career. Terrence Crawford fought fights that he wasn't supposed to even win. The man took fights and things just to get his name out there in front of the public to beat certain fighters. See, they don't know about the Breeze Press guys. You know what I'm saying? They don't know about them fighters who was deadly at the time when it was out there. And Terrence just took them on short nose and beat them. They don't know about the guy that made Danny Garcia run from 140. What's his name? I can see his face, Victor Poster. They don't know about the Victor Poster, the Ricky Burns. You see what I'm saying? They don't know about these guys. They just say he ain't fought Eric Molina's, and they just say he ain't fought nobody, And that let me know that you're a casual fan of it. But let's go into what Showbiz was talking about. Showbiz brought up this situation, and shout out to my boy, I can't think of his name right now. He made a video about it. It's gonna come to me, but he made a video about the fact that, Showtime, brought up this allegations of Terrence Crawford and the snack situation, this, that, and other, which was basically to do nothing but to bring Terrence Crawford's name down, to make him look bad in front of the public, or to give a thought to other fans who dislike Terrence Crawford, which we have to understand a lot of Spence fans now are Canelo Alvarez fans for this fight. So to bring up, the situation of the snack and this, that, and the other, and Victor Conti, is only to downgrade the chances of Terrence Crawford going out there and dominating or just being victorious over Canelo Alvarez. It's going to be said Victor Conti. It's going to be said he was on snack. This, that, and other. Same thing we had happen when he fought Errol Spence Jr. Same thing when he fought Errol Spence Jr. Oh, it was a red lady in a dress that drugged him. Oh, Errol Spence was high on weed. Oh, whose fault is that if Errol Spence came high on weed? He got into a boxing ring high. Whose fault was that? Was he that nervous? That's his fault. Car crash. The car crash that happened years ago, and he came back a dominant fighter, beating other fighters, beat Yuga's face up, made him look like, an elephant man. But then when it comes to Terrence annihilating him, Terrence was on snack. So thank you, Showtime. And I got to agree with my boy. I can't think his name. right now. But I agree with my boy, for making that video and saying that, you bringing up that whole situation upon snack, it's nothing but to discredit Terrence Crawford and to go with your fan base, to start talking smack. And that's nothing. This is what comes down to. Y'all understand? I think, honestly, if you go back, you could check. I got 2 channels. I'm the only podcaster of boxing that told y'all that Errol Spence was going to get destroyed by Terrence Crawford. All these big channels y'all watching, no hate. No hate. Shout out to you. Get your money, baby. How you living? But it does just be real. A lot of these channels, a lot of them was dick riding Errol Spence Jr. and said that Errol Spence Jr. was going to annihilate, just run through Terrence Crawford. And for 5 years straight, I told these people, that's not going to happen. He's going to destroy one-dimensional Errol Spence Jr., the biggest channels out here. And guess what? Showbiz was one of those biggest channels out there that was coattailing Errol Spence. He was too big for Crawford. He was going to get annihilated. Terrence Crawford ain't had no chance. And here we go today, and y'all seen what happened. So don't be surprised about the situation of him making videos saying that, Terrence may be using something or, anything to discredit Terrence Crawford. The channels that didn't love him, or they going to use that to that effect, man. because they know if they are real boxing fans, they've seen the slowdown of Canelo Alvarez. They've seen that he ain't knocked nobody out in years. And why? And if you're gonna bring up any situation of anybody using steroids in this fight, why didn't you bring up the fact of Canelo Alvarez so-called eating bad meat and was caught with a steroid in his system? But yet you want to only bring out the fact that Bud was initiated with snack, which had something to do with Victor Conte all of a sudden. But you don't want to mention Canelo Alvarez and what he was doing eating bad meat. So I think in this situation, we're going to kill the narrative of who should be talked about for steroids. Bud never been busted. And I'm not just saying that because I'm black. We keep it fair. Bud has never been busted for steroids. Canelo has been busted for steroids. So showbiz, if you're going to talk about it from both fighters. Don't just pick the black fighter. And which they all know we ain't racist over here, but we speaking real talk. Don't just pick the black fighter to bring up steroid accusations against when we know the other fighter. See, this is what y'all not understanding. Bud don't even like to be interviewed by Showtime because Bud know that Showtime was one of them channels. Showbiz. Bud know that Showbiz was one of them channels that was out there dogging him. Showbiz know that Bud know he was one of them channels that was out there dogging him. So he don't even want to talk to Terrence Crawford. He can't even be around Terrence Crawford. Showbiz know that. So Showbiz is out here literally going against the grain, just doing things and saying things, not being a fair boxing journalist, which is what we are, boxing journalists. He's not being a fair boxing journalist by not mentioning both of them. If you're going to accuse Terrence Crawford, you most definitely got to mention Canelo for being literally. No accusations. Nobody was thinking. Nobody just put it in tabloids. Canelo was literally cheating. And y'all think about this. This after he went on his marathon to be undisputed. He missed a fight 5 times a year. So y'all think steroids just help you and they go away. No, steroids last a long time in your system. So that's why Canelo went on that 5-fight marathon to become undisputed, because he was still juiced and had it in his system. But see, in this situation, Canelo Alvarez knows that he's slower. He conserves his energy well. In that last fight, Terrence Crawford was there watching against him versus Skull, and he's seen and noticed, oh, this dude, he's intelligent, he's experienced. Canelo doesn't throw unless he has to. Canelo not finna chase you no more. You seen that in the Skull fight. He don't have it in him to chase nobody no more. And to prove that, go back to Laura versus Canelo. When they told probably Canelo that he was losing that fight due to the movement of Laura, what did he do? He started moving forward, landing body shots, which I feel that Canelo Alvarez did beat Laura due to his accumulation of body shots and the fact that he was pressing the fight. And Laura was doing a lot of running. They showed the clips of Laura landing shots, but when you watch the real fight, you see that Laura was running a lot during that fight. Laura was running a lot. So Canelo's not going to press you like he used to. He's not going to bring it to you like that. He didn't do it against Skull. So I'm telling y'all, when Terrence Crawford go out there and defeats, when he defeats Canelo Alvarez, I don't want to hear no excuses. Let me read some of the comments. Easy. I was wrong about Regis. He's still trash, but he beat JoJo. Yeah, that was a close fight though. It could have been a draw. It could have been a draw, but Regis stayed focused on his jab. Regis Prograis need new trainings. Notice something about Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis don't never throw his right hook. This is something I seen that Kevin Cunningham trainer. No disrespect to him, I just speak my opinion. Trainer Kevin Cunningham been allowing his southpaw fighters to do for years. Just focus on throwing the jab in the left hand. Devin Alexander, many others who done been with Kevin Cunningham. He show no versatility with their shots. Not dogging them, just saying look at it and pay attention. Most southpaws don't want to do nothing but throw their straight hand, their straight left hand, throw a jab, straight left hand. That's all they want to do. But Regis should be jabbing, straight right hand, right hook. Regis never throws his right hand, period. Never. That's bad training. That's somebody who not showing him another way of punch output, which with his power, he should do. So, yeah, he beat Jojo Diaz, but I just think it was a situation of where, it should have been really a draw. Jojo, even with a messed up eye, was landing to me the more accurate, powerful shots. Even though he didn't knock the champion. I mean, he wasn't a champion, but he didn't knock Regis down. It could have went either way in that fight. But for Regis to get it, shout out to Regis, no complaining about it. That was a good fight. Either saving TC and Canelo so more people get on. Save that for later views. I mean, we got a lot to talk about. I mean, whatever y'all want to bring in, we're going to talk about. But, I had to speak on something to keep people, entertained and keep watching the video. If I go to talk about stuff that people really don't want to hear and it came on for the title, then, they wouldn't want to listen to that. Well, let me see. Saving TC and Canelo's. Okay, I see. Think Canelo beats Bud, not going to lie. I can agree with you. You're supposed to think that he's a bigger guy. He's more experienced. He's fought the, better resume of the opponents than Terrence Crawford. You're supposed to go against Terrence Crawford in this fight. I'm not saying that. I'm just believing from my belief, from me watching boxing since I was 8 years old. I just believe differently. But yes, you cannot go against the grain and be mad at anybody for saying, hey, I think Canelo Alvarez is going to come out on top in this fight. You're supposed to. It's just logical for you to think that way. That's cool. I don't think Crawford is strong enough like Bivol and Kovalev. Well, he defeated Kovalev, so evidently Kovalev wasn't that strong. But Bivol, when I watched the fight the other day, Bivol could have beat Canelo up way worse than he wanted to. I don't understand what the pawing and the probe and jabs from. Bivol should have had stronger jabs than that throughout the fight. Bivol could have really dominated Canelo Alvarez. If you watch the fight and you've been watching as long as I've been watching boxing, that pity paw jab stuff and that pop and that tapping on the jab stuff, I don't like it. I don't like it. He could have really dominated Canelo Alvarez, but for some reason, he was out there throwing, the tap jabs and, he would land a decent. You can probably count 13 real jabs he actually threw. But, yeah, Bivol came out on top of that. Thank you, EMS. Let's go to this. Let's bring up Crawford versus Madrimov. Okay, what do you want to bring up versus Crawford and Madrimov? What's the situation you want to talk about in that? I think I talked about that. I said that Terrence Crawford didn't look like the Terrence Crawford we expected. Been a year layoff, but he still beat a fighter, that was undefeated. A fighter who has a different style, to me, a better style than Canelo Alvarez. Actually, if you think if Canelo Alvarez came in moving like Madrimov, of course it'll be a more dangerous fight for Terrence Crawford. You can't really time a fighter that keep doing this. You can't time that. So for Crawford to figure out a way in the later rounds to start, hey, I got to go out there and I got to win and defeat him, that just shows how good Crawford is. Because Madrimov's style, it's complicated. But then, of course, like I said, I know y'all going to bring up Virgil Ortiz. Or Virgil Ortiz went out there and stopped him. Yeah, because Virgil Ortiz has a different style. Madrimov is a thinking fighter. Virgil Ortiz is not going to let you think. Virgil Ortiz is not going to let you think in the ring. The styles is different. You see what I'm saying? Standing there willing to box and brawl. And yes, that does look very valuable for Virgil Ortiz and his play of saying, I can defeat Terrence Crawford. Because you know how we as people do and look in boxing. You go and say, oh, well, he stopped the guy that Terrence Crawford had a difficulty with. So maybe Virgil Ortiz can beat Terrence Crawford. That's a fight, a great fight after he should leave 168, even though I want him to retire. That's a great fight. Because a lot of people going to bring up the fact of this situation. Oh, yeah, he beat him. He stopped him. Terrence did. So, yeah, that'll be a good fight. Easy, what you think about Timothy Bradley and Xavier Zayas saying Alexander Zayas beats Virgil Ortiz? I'm unfamiliar with that fight. I had to check it out and see and give you my opinion on it. I can't give you an opinion. You know, y'all know I don't like to lie. I ain't just gonna say, oh, I got Virgil Ortiz beating him. I really don't know about that guy he fighting, so I have to look that up. Hey, I want to go to a bar. I live in Texas. I know they're gonna be big mad when that boy Canelo get whooped. Oh, you gonna need a bulletproof vest. You gonna need a bulletproof vest when you go home. Do you think Bud will win? Yes, I think Bud will win. I do. Bud and 5. Bill Boots. Hit the like button if you're watching the channel. Hit the like button, please. When is the undercard being released? I don't know. I don't too much care about the undercard, but it should be if Turkey, you know, promoting this fight, it should be a good undercard. They've been putting us a lot of good cards, and I hope it is a good undercard for everybody to watch. Let's not mention the fact, y'all, this is gonna be free on Netflix. Let's not forget this is gonna be free on Netflix. So that's one thing we're gonna love as boxing fans. All you gotta do is keep your your Netflix account up, and you're gonna be able to watch the fight. But I'm going for not Canelo, Crawford. Fighting Madrimov was like fighting Jim Carrey and me and I read. Jesus, the dude fainted so much he confused his corner himself in his corner. Yeah, he was a tricky fighter. You know, he was experienced. But you know, Virgil Ortiz just didn't give him the opportunity to care about his experience. And Virgil Ortiz love fighting fighters when they come off a loss too. Which I keep telling people that mentally bothers boxers. They're not the same fighter coming off a loss. But I'm not saying that to take away his great victory over Madrimov. But just check out Virgil Ortiz and look at how many fighters he fights coming off a loss. And then you understand, you say, oh, he ain't being biased. You're going to see. You're going to see. But this is going to be a good fight. I'm more worried about Terrence Crawford being robbed. I'm more worried about him being robbed. I think he really has to go out there and put on the show. If not, don't nobody want to see Terrence be 3 times undisputed. Don't nobody want to see that. He's gonna really have to go out there and put on a dominant performance in order to walk away with them belts. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? It can't be it's back and forth. It can't be that. I know some people out there, they criticizing Crawford, talking about the training, he's small. Terrence gonna have to do what's necessary to say that he wins that fight. He gonna have to be the cleaner puncher, the better mover. He can't run. He can't run. You're gonna have to stand there and literally fight, go blow for blow, like they used to say in the old days in boxing. They used to make fighters put their feet inside a tire and literally box each other with their one foot in a tire. You know, I think this is exactly what happened in the Olympics when they brought home all the gold medals, that they actually had them sparring inside of a tire where a fighter's foot was in there and they had to fight each other with their foot being in a tire. So, you know, I think that's what made them so good back in the day. And, you know, this should be a situation that should be did by Crawford's team. Because like I said, if you notice, if you back Canelo up, the fight really over for Canelo. Canelo don't fight back enough. Canelo follows you. Canelo follows you. He aims at your arms. And one thing I like about him, and with this the punch I hope he don't catch Terrence Crawford with, because he's sneaky with this. Canelo will come towards you, keep throwing hooks to your body with the left hand. Keep throwing hooks to your body, and he'll get you accustomed to thinking that punch coming. And when you go down to your body, he'll go right up to your head with a left hook. Canelo, that's one of the dangerous punches, and his uppercut. That's his dangerous punch, faking to the body and going upstairs and hitting you with that left hook. I hope he don't hit Terrence Crawford with that. If he hit Terrence Crawford and that it don't break him, then Canelo in trouble. And so y'all got me remembering the fact. Go back and look at the Charlo fight. True enough, he hurt Charlo. But then you have to ask yourself, is Charlo the same counterpuncher as Terrence Crawford? Do you think that Terrence Crawford is going to give more than Canelo Alvarez in this fight? Who do you think is the more hungrier fighter in this situation? Who is the more skillful fighter, in your opinion, in this situation, in this fight? Who's the more well-around fighter? Which, we can't forget this, one punch change everything in sport of boxing. All they got to do is not see it, y'all. All they got to do is not see the punch coming, and that could change the whole fight. So we must remember at all times, whether you like Canelo, whether you like Crawford, whether you like Canelo, one punch changes everything. So we will never know who may become victorious in this fight. All we can do is try our best predictions and say what we're going to say. But we don't know. We've seen the power of Canelo, especially when he fights smaller fighters, not discrediting him. He ain't had a stoppage in a long time. We just speaking facts. But fighting smaller fighters, he knocks them out easy, cold. We know that for a fact. But the question is, can he do Terrence Crawford that way? He didn't stop Charlo. Well, I believe Canelo gonna tire out. I don't know how Bud gonna give him tire. I know that Bud know that he saves his energy to only throw big shots to hurt you. I know Bud know that he saved his energy. So I'm thinking Bud gonna find some way in that fight to bring out and make Canelo tired before the 6th, 7th round. And after that, he gonna counterpunch him to death. I think Bud gonna counterpunch him to death, y'all. Then y'all gotta remember the fact Bud been walking around training, which he ain't telling nobody. He making y'all think he ain't been training for a whole year at 180 pounds. Bud been walking around training this whole time. Bud was really training. If y'all check out some of the old clips and stuff, y'all never know. Y'all ain't seen him with no pot belly since he been at the weight he been at. Bud been literally training this whole time. Now, could he overtrain? Hey, that we'll never know. Could he overtrain, which I doubt. And y'all misunderstand it. First, let's talk about this culture. Let's talk about this culture. We gotta keep it real over here. We gotta keep it fair. Eddie Reynoso can't train a pit bull to sit down. Let's just be real about this. Eddie Reynoso can't train a pit bull to sit down. He just run across good fighters like they ran across Canelo. Eddie Reynoso daddy wasn't no fighter. Eddie Reynoso daddy was an actor. Go look it up. Eddie Reynoso actor, his daddy was an actor who probably bought a boxing gym for the community or something. Canelo got with him young, stayed loyal to him, and he's still loyal to this day. Eddie Reynoso can't train nothing. Nothing. I'm telling y'all, he can't train nothing. Now, when it comes to Bud, you got three trainers. Three trainers. You got Mexican descent who was an amateur champion. You got the other guy, the black guy, and you got what's his name? Bomac. You got Bomac. Used to be a professional fighter in the heavyweight division. Probably not that good, wasn't that good, but he's still a trainer. You got three heads going against one guy that don't really know nothing about boxing. You got three heads going against Mr. Eddie Reynoso, who don't know nothing about boxing for real, going against three heads to come up with a plan to beat Canelo Alvarez. That means it's going to be three different men watching tape. Three different men writing down and jotting down what they see is a fault of Canelo Alvarez, and they're going to come together and they're going to make a whole blueprint. Bernie the Boxer, true. And they're going to make a whole blueprint of what we need to go out here to do to beat him. And not only that, we have the ability and the versatility to beat him. All you got to do is stand in front of Canelo. Don't run. The moment you run, he already know, oh, they scared of me. They scared of my power. So what he going to do? He going to come out there early throwing big punches, powerful punches, get you most scared of his power. And then they going to run the rest of the fight. Another worry I have in this situation is the fact that will Canelo come out early? Because think about it, Canelo is coming in at 168. Canelo really walk around weight is really like 203 pounds. Canelo real walk around weight is like 203 pounds. So when he rehydrate from 168, I know Canelo probably 190. That's some people got. I know he about 190. On the night of the fight, I know he about 190. Tim Bradley said he was wrong. Tank is Hall of Fame. Oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't know. Tank ain't no Hall of Fame. No. 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 If Tank Hall of Fame, Adrian Broner most definitely in the Hall of Fame. Eddie Reynoso is that he's a system trainer. Usually those type of trainers have a one-dimensional frame of mind. They can't adapt. No, he's just a trash trainer. He trash. I'm telling y'all. He can't train Canelo on nothing. Look at all his fighters that have been popped for steroids. All his fighters been popped for steroids. Think about that now. Even on steroids, they still lose. And will not lose all the time. They not lose all the time. He ain't no good trainer. Eddie Reynoso is just like how what's the black guy was training the Charlos? I see his face right now. What's the black guy who trained the Charlos? Well, who was training one of the Charlos and Errol Spence? What's his name, y'all? Who was training Errol Spence and Charlo? Derrick James. Derrick James ain't a good trainer. Derrick James is a trainer that get good, capable boxers who are capable of being champions. Roy Jones Jr. ain't no good trainer. Roy was built off athleticism and boxing. Roy, let me tell you how you know Roy Jones Jr. is a bad trainer. He allows his boxers to go out there and try to box like him. That's the first sign to let you know that I take nothing away from Roy Jones. This ain't about no Floyd Mayweather talk. This ain't about nothing. I'm talking about just from being a trainer. He literally allows his fighters to go out there and fight his style. I think that's crazy as a trainer, knowing that you was built off of athleticism. And let's not forget, Roy Jones Jr. had steroid accusations. Let's not forget now. And then when he get later in his career and he get old, he started getting knocked out. I'm just saying. So when it comes to the Floyd Mayweather and Roy Jones situation, Floyd will still beat Roy Jones now. He'll beat him now. Don't believe the hype. Y'all gonna look at it in size and don't believe. Y'all gotta remember, Floyd Mayweather boxed damn near 200 pounds. What's the brother name? Logan Paul. Logan Paul. Roy Jones ain't got it no more. Roy Jones don't have the IQ Floyd Mayweather to have to beat him, even now. Roy Jones don't have the IQ to beat Floyd Mayweather. He can criticize his fight. I can criticize Floyd. Never undisputed. Dodged a lot of opponents in order to be never undisputed. But when it comes to boxing ability, no. If there was the box right now and they agreed to a certain weight, Roy Jones Jr. would not beat Floyd Mayweather. I don't even want you to fathom that in your mind that would happen. It's not. The IQ, Roy Legs was gone before he ended his career. No. Florida outpoint and pick off Roy Jones Jr. That's just my opinion of it. You know. Then we got Devin Haney versus what's his name? Brian Norman Jr. That's gonna be a fight, y'all. That's gonna be a fight. This fight really gonna show if Devin Haney is not a shot fighter, which I think that Devin Haney is actually a shot fighter. I think what we seen in that Ramirez fight, that clearly showed he gun shy. In my opinion, he don't want to get hit at all. He gonna try to move around the ring as much as he can. I think that Devin Haney is not the same fighter, y'all. Now, I really think that. And I think that going against Brian Norman Jr., even though they discredited him, they saying, who was these guys? He fought this guy that fought, not just Devin Haney, and many other fighters are saying this. If he come out there with a game plan and not try to box Devin Haney, he should win that fight. If he go out there expecting to head hunt and I'm gonna show the world that I'm a better boxer than Devin Haney, I'm gonna come out victorious. No, you're not. No, you're not. Devin gonna be too strategic in that ring. He gonna move around no matter how small it is, make you uncomfortable, use his legs. Brian Norman's job is gonna have to be cutting off that ring and stopping and hurting Devin Haney's legs from moving. And then in the later rounds, Brian Norman should go head and body. But trying to come out there boxing, he gonna lose. He gonna lose. Head hunting, he gonna lose. Do not. A lot of fighters have made the mistake against Floyd Mayweather and many other superior boxers, or the world feels, or even in boxing, they feel are more superior boxers. Oh, I'm gonna go out there and show that I'm an elite boxer too. That ain't your job. Your job is not to go out there and show the world that you're a better boxer than him. You're going to prove that when you defeat him from your own strategy and your own game plan. And if I'm fighting a dude that I know is a superior fighter, I'm going in his chest and tearing his body up. I'll go upstairs every now and then, try to jab, whatever. My whole game plan, if you're a better boxer than me from the outside, I'm going in. I'm going in. I'm fighting you. I'm not boxing you. And that's where I think that mistake will be made in that fight. If he go out there and he fight Devin Haney, he can possibly knock Devin Haney out. If he go out there and he box, it ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. David Benavidez versus Yard. David Benavidez is gonna take that fight. I mean, but you never know. Like I say, boxing is a 50-50 possibility. Somebody don't see a punch that can come. Anthony Yard is a strong fighter, but I think he lacks stamina. I think he run out in late rounds. He lacks in stamina. You can't do that against David Benavidez. I think David Benavidez is more ferocious, more faster, more dominant, higher confidence, got something to prove, still more hungry. I'm leaning towards David Benavidez versus Yard. So, that's just my opinion, No, but when it comes to the situation of Crawford, Canelo, I got to ride with Crawford, y'all. Even with me understanding, as I say, Crawford may not win. He's not supposed to win this fight. But from his abilities, his coaching, and and what's on the line, I'll be crazy to doubt Terrence. So I'm going with Terrence. Canelo then slowed down, in my opinion. Terrence know that Canelo Alvarez conserves his energy. Canelo doesn't have the same power after the 6th, 7th round. He mentally and physically walks you around to keep it in your head that he's not fatigued. But if you look at how his punches change from the sound of it, you'll clearly see that Canelo loses his power after the 6th, 7th round. And I think that's when Crawford may take off on him and start counterpunching, catching him with a lot of shots that he shouldn't get caught with. I'm not saying he's going to stop him, but he should beat him. Now, the dangerous part for Crawford is the early rounds. The dangerous time for Crawford is rounds 1 through 5. If he get hit with something fresh from Canelo, with the power he got, it could. If he get hit with it, could shake him up, could drop him. The dangerous rounds for Terrence Crawford is the early rounds, y'all. It's the early round. Even still, it's still more even dangerous until like the 8th. Because Canelo like I say, he conserve his energy, so he gonna try to come in the later rounds and try to hurt Bud, in my opinion. That's if Bud allow him to save that energy. Bud needs to throw body shots. Clinching, let's talk about clinching, because it should be a whole bunch of clinching. smart fighting. A lot of people gonna say, "Oh, he was clinching a lot." Well, I'm not letting him get off his offense. That's why I was clinching. I'm not letting him get off his offense. That's why I was clinching. So they're going, oh, he was clinching a lot. It's going to be a lot. If Terrence Crawford beats Canelo, it's going to be so many excuses. It's going to be so many. I'm just waiting. I'm just going to be waiting on it. And I'm going to come back on here and I'm going to say, did I tell y'all? Did I tell y'all? He ain't lost, been knocked down. He younger, got more power. He bigger naturally. They're going to come with some excuse. Oh, we all know Canelo Alvarez wasn't the same fighter. We all know that, from his fame and his riches, he wasn't really inspired by boxing anymore. He wasn't inspired by boxing anymore. He was just boxing to make money. That's why Terrence Crawford came out on top. Oh, Terrence was taking steroids 2 years before the fight. Terrence Crawford was taking steroids 2 years before the fight, y'all. That's why he became victorious and beat Canelo Alvarez. I'm telling y'all what's coming. I'm telling you what's coming, so be prepared for it. And y'all, I'm gonna get up off here. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We just keep it real over here, in my opinion. I hope that everybody, hit the like button if you enjoyed, my commentary on what I feel is gonna happen. But stay tuned to the channel. Hit your subscribe button. It's your boy Easy. I'm out, baby.